diabetes or obesity. The directive, which is being sent to US embassies and consulates, tells visa officers to decide whether applicants could become a public charge, which means a potential burden on government resources due to health costs. Now, the list of conditions has expanded to include heart disease, respiratory problems and mental health issues, giving officers more power to judge an applicant's future medical expenses. However, critics point out that the move is unfair, warning that it could lead to biased decisions. The administration, however, maintains that it wants to ensure immigrants are self-sufficient once they arrive in the United States of America. More news is coming in, this time from the Middle East. Stories of human suffering continue to emerge from Gaza. A Palestinian widow and her 3 children have now been displaced by months of fighting. They are among those who are forced to sleep in a bus luggage compartment, sharing the cramped space with 4 others. Meanwhile, some humanitarian aid is finally trickling in. The United Nations, meanwhile, has warned that the situation remains dire. Much of Gaza lies in ruins. Food, water and medicine are still scarce, and hundreds of thousands are facing the threat of hunger and disease. In fact, a UN spokesperson has stated that the ceasefire has allowed limited relief deliveries, but has emphasized that urgent, sustained humanitarian access is needed in order to prevent an even greater catastrophe. Listen to what Esra Junaid, residing in a broken bus with her family in Gaza, has had to say.
طبعا انا هي مكاني، هي بنتي ريتاج الثانيه وهي ابن انس. طبعا الاولاد ملاقين هذه مرجحه لهم علشان ما فيش مجال انهم يلعبوا ولا يلاقوا لهم مكان انهم. انام تحت الشجره، في هذيك الشجره نمت لحالي انا واولادي. فترة جت اصحاب الشأن في المادة في الكليه انهم يسكنوني، حكوا فيش عندنا مكان وسع. فجيراني حكوا لي تعال من قاعدك هنا في الباص، فيش مكان غير الباص. فالعيش في الباص لحالها مبينه انه صرت اصلي وانا قاعده، ما باخدش حريتي.
On that note, we're shifting focus away from the Middle East towards what's taking place in Djibouti. Djibouti's President Ismail Omar Guelleh has now stated that he will run for a 6th term in next year's election after Parliament has removed a constitutional barrier that had prevented him from running again. Remember, he's been in power since 1999. Now, he won the last election in 2021 with 97% of the vote, while his coalition, the Union for the Presidential Majority, holds the majority of the parliamentary seats. The move comes less than a week after the Parliament voted to remove the 75-year age limit for presidential candidates from the Constitution. More news coming in, this time from Tanzania. We're learning that Tanzania has moved to arrest senior opposition figures held responsible for deadly protests during last week's presidential and parliamentary elections. The main opposition party, Chadema, and human rights activists claim that security forces have killed over 1,000 people, while the government has denied these numbers, calling them exaggerated and not providing its own death toll. Now, the Tanzanian police have identified 10 wanted individuals in connection with the case, which is under investigation. Just a day after prosecutors charged 145 people with treason, the police have now stated that they're continuing a serious manhunt in collaboration with other defense and security agencies in order to locate all individuals who planned, coordinated and carried out these actions. Shifting focus away from Tanzania towards what's happening in Kenya, we're now learning that 2 prominent Kenyan human rights activists, Njagi and Oyoo, have been released after spending 39 days in detention in Uganda. They were abducted on the 1st of October during a political rally in support of Uganda's opposition leader and presidential candidate, Bobi Wine. Both activists are affiliated with the Free Kenya movement and were held at the Kasenyi military barracks, allegedly under orders from Muhoozi Kainerugaba, son of Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni. Now, their detention has sparked outrage across East Africa, with civil society groups including Amnesty International and Vocal Africa calling for their immediate release. The Kenyan government also intervened diplomatically, leading to the activists' eventual release on Saturday.
of abduction was not easy. We didn't think we were going to come out alive because we were being abducted by the military. We have been kept by the military in Uganda for this, under the Special Forces Command. We're going to release more details to you in a short while after we get some medical attention. We've not been eating for about 14 days myself. I've been fasting. It's been very difficult, but thank you so much for it.
We're tracking other developments, this time from Brazil. We're learning that Brazil's Pará state has released aerial footage of the destruction caused by a tornado that has killed 6 people. Damage across Rio Bonito do Icao, including destroyed buildings and farms nearby Guarapuava, was also affected. Authorities have stated that 437 people were treated for injuries and about 1,000 have been displaced. The Pará Meteorology and Environmental Monitoring System has reported winds reach speeds between 180 and 250 kilometers per hour. News coming in from Turkey at the moment. A fire at a perfume depot in northwestern Turkey has killed over 6 people and injured 1. According to the Kocaeli governor, the blaze broke out at around 9 a.m. local time in the Dilovasi district of Kocaeli province and was brought under control within about an hour after emergency teams were dispatched. The governor also stated that the cause of the fire was not immediately known and authorities had launched an investigation. Let's in fact listen in to what the governor has informed.
9 sularında Dilovası ilçemizde bir iş yerinde meydana gelen yangın sonucu maalesef 6 vatandaşımızı kaybettik. Bu olayda yine bir vatandaşımızın durumu yanık sebebiyle ağır olmakla birlikte 4.
Shifting focus away from Turkey towards what's happening in China. Chinese President Xi Jinping, during his visit to Guangdong, has emphasized upon deepening reform and opening up for high-quality development. He's highlighted Guangdong's role as a leader in reform and its responsibility in shaping the 15th five-year plan for the period of 2026 to 2030. Xi Jinping has called for strengthening the synergy between efficient markets and the government, fostering technological innovation and building a globally competitive industrial system. He has urged expanding institutional opening up, upgrading over free trade zones and enhancing integration in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. She has also emphasized cross-regional cooperation, advancing party leadership and strengthening anti-corruption efforts to ensure sustainable development. The Greater Bay Area, she noted, presents a unique opportunity for global competitiveness.